Alright, after testing out Dendro for the past few days, or at least trying to, I'm really on the fence about thinking about it being a meta element. And just to be clear, because I say meta, it doesn't mean it isn't fun. And this is purely from my opinion, and plus I do think Dendro is fun in its own right. I don't know if this is just me, but I really feel like Dendro is a very niche element where it really only helps out one element, and that would be Electro. However, you can make other Dendro teams work. They can be good. I'm just saying that they are kind of niche. I'm not going to go into detail because I'm sure there are already many explanations for the many reactions. The reason why it's so good with Electro is because the damage bonus you can gain from the quicken reaction. And this damage bonus will increase depending on your elemental mastery stat. But honestly, I feel like that's really where the best part of Dendro ends. There are elements that have mediocre reactions with Dendro or no reaction at all. Bloom, Burning, Burgeon, and Hyper Bloom are kind of mid in my opinion. Burning kind of sucks and doesn't really do all that much damage or apply a certain element, so we're just gonna skip over that. For some reason, it did also get nerfed. I'm not so sure how, but it's not really going to matter for an underwhelming reaction. Bloom requires both Hydro and Dendro to occur. And in order for the reaction to be fully utilized, you will need Pyro or Electro for Burgeon or Hyper Bloom respectively. If the seed is left on the ground with no reaction, it will explode, doing a decent amount of damage. And honestly, you can get a lot of these seeds up in a short duration, and the damage does add up. Burgeon and Hyper Bloom are both interesting, but the fact that you need at least 3 characters for one reaction already takes away its flexibility, so your options to make a Bloom-related team are kind of limited. First, let's talk about Burgeon and then Hyper Bloom. Let's say to make a Burgeon team, you bring Xiangling and Child to the team. Both these characters have very good synergy with each other, but that changes if you add Dendro to the team for Bloom. Since Child has very good Hydro application to keep up with Xiangling's non-existent ICD, you will have trouble managing your Bloom and Burgeon reactions. This is because with both Dendro and Pyro being applied at the same time, even the best Hydro applicator will struggle to maintain the Hydro aura in order for Bloom and Vaporize to occur. With all that happening, it is very hard to maintain consistent reactions, and eventually you'll have burning reactions, which is not really what you want. There is a solution for this, and that is Toma. The reason why Toma is seeing so much spotlight in Burgeon teams is because his burst applies Pyro less often than Xiangling. This allows rotations to be a lot easier to control, and if you build him with full EM, he is able to take full advantage of the Burgeon damage, and the shield that he gives is also nice to prevent self-damage from the explosion. But all of this requires a niche team with a niche character with a niche build, right? And all of this setup, is it really worth it over something like Child International? In terms of meta, probably not, right? Even Child International teams have more flexibility compared to Burgeon. On a more positive note though, I do think Hyper Bloom is good, but not because the reaction itself is good, it's because you can also simultaneously trigger Quicken, Aggravate, and Spread. Taser teams themselves are really good, and adding Dendro to that will make it even better because you can basically make everyone in that team even stronger. However, I really want to bring up this question. Is it really worth bringing a Dendro character over someone else who already fills a major role? In my opinion, it's not really worth it unless it's for the fun factor. Like, you're already committing so much to make Dendro work in a team that you would like, and the lack of flexibility really hurts Dendro as a whole, in my opinion. I'm not too sure if you noticed, but I was really struggling in the background gameplay. This is mainly because of how many options I had to try and make it work. Maybe it's because I had Kale as my only Dendro character. She can work, but I'm really having trouble finding the right rotations to do so. Also, I don't know if it's just me, but Kale's boomerang just feels a little bit clunky to use because of how much end lag there is after you use it. And no, I'm not building Dendro Traveler. Even though their Dendro application is better than Kale, I don't think they offer as much, and his burst is a lot more expensive, so making rotations with Dendro Traveler is a little more rough in my opinion. And Tighnari as a main DPS, he's okay, but his off-field Dendro application is non-existent. Maybe Dendro feels underwhelming because we don't have many options for a Dendro character as of now. Maybe it's because this Abyss rotation favors a certain element, and maybe it's because I have skill issues, but I honestly think Dendro is kind of in a similar situation as Geo teams, where they have very limited options to work with. You can make them do good damage, but its lack of flexibility kind of holds it back. Dendro is definitely more flexible than Geo, but it is still limited in its own ways. But I really do like how Dendro is giving characters like Toma and Kuki more spotlight in terms of teams. But again, both of them are kind of niche in very specific teams. But again, I do like how they are getting spotlight. But my main issue I see with Dendro is that you're going to likely have to change up an entire team just to try and make it work when we already have very, very strong teams. Personally, I often feel like it's Animo that I'm having to replace since it doesn't directly interact with Dendro, and also Animo is my favorite element to play with. I'm still struggling to find great teams that have a nice rhythm in Dendro. Like, once you get used to the team, it has a nice flow. Maybe what I just said will have a change in the future, but this is just a first impression video, and you might as well strike the iron while it's hot, am I right? Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to like and sub if you haven't. Feel free to join the Discord. Let me know any strong Dendro teams that you found so I can give it a try. Have a good night and day wherever you're at, and I'll see you all next time. Peace, and take care.